such a pleasure to be here with all of you this afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm Sallie Krawcheck, Wall Street refugee. I worked, the reason if some of you are like, she looks a little tired, I spent my career running firms like Merrill Lynch, Smith Barney. I was CFO of Citigroup, the Citi Private Bank, et cetera. And now have founded Ellevest, which is the only investment platform and wealth management platform founded by, funded by, built for investing in, investing through women. Yes, how about that? Majority owned by women and other underrepresented groups, with a team that is 85 to 90% women, 50% people of color, helping women invest very often, and for folks like this crowd, in other women. Our mission is to get more money in the hands of women. Now, just to test this thesis, what I'd like to do, and I know you've got different people talking about investing in women, et cetera, but let me just test it. Who can think of bad things that happen when women have more money? Raise your hand high for all the bad things that happen when women have more money. Shout them out. Because there aren't any. The research is very clear that when women have more money, societies are fairer, families are better off, communities are stronger, the economy is stronger, nonprofits are better off. Women are more likely to give a larger share of their wealth to nonprofits. Women are more likely to believe in climate change and to give a larger share of their wealth to fighting it. So we would all be better off if women had more money. Let me ask another question. Who is super excited about the direction of this country? Raise your hand high. Super duper excited, really glad with what's happening. Exactly. It is probably no coincidence that women today have a mere 30 cents worth of wealth to a white man's dollar. We often hear about the pay gap at 80 cents. The wealth gap is worse, it's 30 cents. It was going backwards before the pandemic. It's a penny for black women, it's a penny for brown women. Is it any coincidence that women give about 30 cents of political donations to every dollar that men do? That's it, that's our fix. Unless you're happy with how it's going. And personally, I think white men, and by the way, Paul, I love white men. I just want to be clear, I've been married to a couple of them. I think white men are super amazing creatures, but I don't feel like y'all are always doing such a good job. Okay, so my job here is in part to give a readout of the state of women's financial health today. And at Ellevest, we pull together a proprietary index on the state of women's financial health, where we pull together things that impact or disproportionately impact women financially. So things like the gender pay gap, or the gender wealth gap, or the gender student loan gap, because we have more of that than men do, or access to paid family leave, or another economic and social, but economic issue, which is our reproductive rights. The percent of venture capital we get, the number of women CEOs, all kinds of issues and how they affect women. Inflation. Inflation's a big one. Well, that affects everybody. Well, it does, but when you have less money, inflation will affect everyone, but will affect women more, and will affect women of color even more. And so we put that into the index. Anyone want to guess how the index is doing? Pretty much rock bottom. We've been looking at it, we've looked at it for over 5 years. And it was pretty bad during the pandemic when women were being forced out of the workforce by choice or not, mostly not, at pretty much record rates. It's actually worse now. And it's worse now because of the impact of inflation upon us, and because also the economic effect of the impact on our reproductive rights. Young women are very concerned about this issue. When we talk to women across the age groups, us older women, I'll put myself in that category, worried about inflation, recession. You talk to younger women, worried about the fight against our reproductive rights, worried about climate change, those longer term things, which does give me some level of hope because they're aware of these issues as financial issues and economic issues that will affect them and their sisters, and by the way, negatively affect our economy. What's a solution to all this? Well, let me first back up. I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I don't know that many other people have. But I keep thinking about what's happened in the past decade, and probably because sort of lost in the Silicon Valley bank implosion, Lean In turned 10. Happy birthday, Lean In. And for some of us in the room, when that came out, that was a sort of seismic moment of here is a guidepost for us to move ahead. This is it. We just have to lean in more. There are any array of books that have followed like this. And there was real excitement around it, huge bestseller, et cetera. Well, what kind of impact did it have? Well, the gender pay gap is flat. Well, venture capital dollars going to women is down. The percent is down over the past 10 years. The number of women CEOs, up a little bit. Does that affect the typical worker? Meh, to some degree, but not that much. Since then, Time's Up, which I was on the advisory board too, has imploded. The Women's March has imploded. Reproductive rights rolled back in a way I don't think any of us in this room would have imagined over the course of our lives. So what has worked over the past 10 years? Okay, honestly, I'm a hammer, everything's a nail. The answer is investing. That if you had put $1 in the NASDAQ 10 years ago, even with last year, which was a pretty cruddy year, even with the pandemic, even with everything, even with inflation and things that have been going on, that dollar would be worth $4. If you had invested in women to a greater degree, as we do at Ellevest, and past performance is no indicator of future performance, et cetera, be worth $6. That has been the case over almost every 10-year period, not that exact amount, but investing has been a winner over any 10-year period. You put $1 in the market and leave it, invest any day over a 10-year period since the early 1900s, any day. Like the day before the crash of '87, or the day before World War II started, or the day before the subprime crisis, you stay in for 10 years, your chances of a positive return have been 99%. You have a recurring deposit. As part of it, your chances of a positive return were 100%. And so we think a lot at Ellevest about, gosh, if we could help women build wealth. Think of the bad marriages they leave. Think of the Me Too jobs they're in, which apparently we've seen in the media industry is not over yet. But think about the jobs they're stuck in that they could leave. Think about the businesses they could start. Think about the homes they can buy. Think about the vibrancy. And so we look at how have been the scalable ways of doing that over time. And the only way to build wealth scalably is not to invest in crypto. It has not been to start your own company. You can have a lightning flash, but that hasn't been it. There have been 2 ways and only 2 ways. And both of them, you have to get your money working to make more money for you. So the first one has been to buy real estate, which is great. It's gone up 3% a year. I mean, you have to take out a mortgage, and you have to have a big down payment, and it's not accessible because of redlining to vast parts of the population. But if you happen to have been a white person who could do all those things historically, like some of our grandparents, you built wealth. The other way was investing, which, not for nothing, doesn't take a big down payment, doesn't take more leverage, and has gone up 9.5% a year, even with the cruddy last year, for as long as we could see. By the way, Warren Buffett, he's a genius. Of course he's a genius. For goodness sakes, he's a genius. But his genius was compounding. It was, if you invest and continue to do it and just let your money be there, it will build on itself. And it will not increase like that. It will begin to increase like that, which is a simple concept, but very difficult to conceptualize. Very difficult to do so. And so that's what we do at Ellevest, which is we help women invest from their very first dollar, your daughters, your nieces, et cetera, through to folks in this room. Helping women about, women don't need their own thing. And in fact, when we launched Ellevest, I can tell you women, when we said we are by women, for women, et cetera, we are building and now have built the experts in women's wealth and in building women's wealth. The guys were definitely like, oh, come on, Sallie, what are you thinking? What was really interesting was I'd say about 60% of women were like, okay. 10% were like, But let me think of my number. Whatever the rest of the percent was of women, 30. How dare you? I don't need your dumbed down, pink it and shrink it, little girls, we'll be women together investment offering dumbed down for me. When they went in to look at what we were doing and looked at the people who work at Ellevest and look at our funders, the Melinda Gates, the Penny Pritzkers, the Elaine Wynns, the Melody Hobsons, and looked at these individuals. Valerie Jarrett, I think, was here. She's an investor. Looked at them and said, wait a second, this is actually more sophisticated, right? Because we women have always been held to a higher standard. This is more sophisticated. Their investing algorithm takes into account we live longer, earn less, take more career breaks. They're investing in other women, which we all know has led to a higher return. And they popped out and said, you should take a look. The point I do want to make for all of us as leaders in this room is that not one single woman on first blush said it's for women, it must be better. Not one single woman. And so we are, by getting more money, by building wealth for women, trying to change that narrative, trying to change the narrative where we women have been taught we're not good with money, we're overspending, we're, buying too many lattes, getting too many facials, getting too many pedicures. That you're a spendthrift. Carrie Bradshaw bought so many shoes she couldn't afford her apartment. Rather than, my God, no, it's that we make 80 cents to a white man's dollar, right? And I'm not giving up my friggin' latte, and I don't care if you think pumpkin spice is stupid. I mean, that's misogyny season all over the place when we're buying those pumpkin spice lattes. But Ellevest is looking to be sharper and smarter. Let me tell you what we were doing when everybody else was going after crypto. What we were doing is doubling and tripling down on our mission to get more money in the hands of women. And so we had our heads down, and we were building investment products that invest directly in women. Before Ellevest, your choices to invest in women were pretty much, you got a mutual fund that invests in women CEOs, fantastic. I've been part of it, I love it. And then angel investing. Like, wow, that's a really big difference. And so what we've been building at Ellevest are separately managed accounts that invest not just in women CEOs, but in companies that have the policies and practices that help women move forward and divest from companies that don't. We've been investing in lower risk alternatives for things like buying grade B real estate in the Carolinas, fixing it up in a sustainable way, renting it to women who've been victims of domestic abuse, and building more of those. We've been investing in femtech. 2% of venture dollars go to women's health, which is sorely in need of investments. We've been investing in women-run venture capital funds. So we at Ellevest, in every way, are really trying to double and triple down on investing in women. Because the index is poor, the index is down, and we all know that in a capitalist society, the way to fix this is to get more money in the hands of women. Before I finish, Cam Rogers, are you here? Well, she was supposed to be. Never mind. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for having me.